Stitch Cuties, I'm Brittany with Stitches of Love Quilting, and welcome to your video tutorial for block 2 of your Happy Place block of the month using your sewing machine. So in this video tutorial, I'm going to show you how to prep your pieces, which is super easy because they're already pre-fused and laser cut for you. And then I'm going to show you how to build the applique units and put it onto your background fabric. We'll talk about your stitch order and I'll give you a few tips for trimming. So without further ado, let's get started. I always recommend that you read through your pattern, of course, so you know what you're doing. And let's start prepping our pieces. So I'm going to need my placement guide. It's all on one sheet, on one 11 by 17 piece of paper. So you have your full placement guide, and then on the right, you have all your reverse applique pieces. I typically use the reverse applique pieces when I'm numbering my pieces. So I have my bag. We're going to open it up just like you get in your kit, and we're going to number them. So easy peasy. I'm just going to start, and this is piece number 2. So when it's reversed, remember, when you're using the reverse side, your paper side of your fusible will be up. So it makes it easier, in my mind, to number. So just as you go through each piece, give it a number. You can also, at the same token, if you're maybe more visual and want to see the colors, use the side that's the actual placement guide and put this in place and then just flip it over and write your number. So there's no right or wrong way at all. And I probably flip between doing it each way depending on what I'm doing. And then we have our little roof, number 3. Now let's talk about the 3 hearts that we have. Well, you have a heart, the little heart that's on your house. And then you also have 3 super cute print fabrics. So they are numbers 6, 7, and 8. I'll show you. There you go. You can see my reverse and my regular way. So they appear 6, 7, and 8 on your block. So just take a look at the front of your pattern. You'll see the color orders. This is the middle print. This is the top print. This is the bottom. So then we have number 6, number 7, and number 8. So that's all we do to prep. Literally, we're prepped. We're ready to go. So let's take a look at our pattern and see what applique units we're gonna build. I'm pretty sure it's just the 1 through 5, and then the individual hearts go on the background fabric on their own. So super easy. This block of the month is so beginner friendly. It's not even funny. So now to put my pieces in order, I'm gonna go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Because this is all one unit, right? So we have our little pile of pieces ready to go. I'm going to set that just off to the side. Now in front of me, I'll turn my light pad on. There we go. So I have first down on my table, I have my Caterpillar Premium Glow light pad. On top of that, I have the tempered glass that allows me to iron on top of my light pad. And then I'm going to put my placement guide. Let me get it nice and centered for you where you can see. Boop. And then right on top, I'm going to put my fusing mat. So what we're going to do first is build our little house. So super easy. We're going to put down piece number 1. Now what's great about a fusing mat is you put your pieces in place and you can give them a little tap of heat, iron them together, and then peel it right off of that fusing mat. So it allows you to create an applique unit. And if you're going to make a mistake, it's better to make a mistake on just one unit before you put it on your background fabric, right? So that to me is the number 1 benefit of building applique units. Now these are simple applique units, right? There's not a ton of pieces. They're all very easy to put in place. There are projects you're going to work on where building an applique unit really makes a difference. So then get our little roof in place. And so now I have something to tap into place with the iron. So I'm just going to hit it with the iron. Boop. There we go. Just for a second, right? That was only for a second. I'm just trying to connect it. I'm not fusing it to my final fabric. And then my little, my nail went under. If you ever do that, so I have acrylic nails. If you ever put your nail like into that fusible, don't be afraid. Tap it with heat again, and then you'll be able to peel it properly. Little things like that sometimes happen. There we go. Let's give that a little press. See, it didn't hurt it at all to give it that tap of heat. Now with fusible, you don't want to give it like a minute of heat, right? We're talking seconds here, right? If you do keep pressing down, you will overexpose eventually the fusible, and then it won't stick. Okay, so just like that, we have our little house unit. That was so easy. And the 3 hearts we're gonna put on our background fabric. So let me just peel this up. Easy peasy. Look at that cute little house. Oh my God, it's so cute. The fabrics are adorable. This is a really cute gingham from Lori Holt. This is a dapple dot from Riley Blake, a paparazzi dot, and then this is a fun print. Forgive me for not remembering which one of the Lori Holt lines of fabric it's in, but it's one of them. Okay, so now we don't need our fusing mat anymore. So don't look, I'm dropping mine on the floor. Don't put yours on the floor. I'm doing that. I didn't press my fabric ahead of time, but I should have. That's what you would do if you read the instructions. You have this already prepped. And I like to use a little bit of starch throughout the entire quilt because to me, it just, I don't know, I love to starch. I think it makes it easier to sew the blocks together at the end, but that's a personal choice, but definitely at least get out the wrinkles. So I didn't starch this on the video just because I'm making a video, right? So now we're going to put our placement guide back down, get it in position. Is this not so easy, y'all? I feel like I should be making it more difficult, but it's not. And then you're just gonna put your background fabric over it. So if you can see through the camera, yes, you can see nicely. My outer line, right? I just wanna make sure I'm covering it. So we give you approximately a 10-inch square of fabric. We're gonna trim it down to 8.5. So you have plenty of fabric to work with. And then we're just going to make sure you don't have any fuzz. And am I in view? Yes. I'm trying to make sure y'all see it nice. We're just gonna put our house right in place. And the house lines up directly at the bottom of your block. So you wanna make sure you get that nice and straight because that will obviously affect when you go to trim. You want that to be nice and straight. So boom, that's on. Now we're gonna do pieces 6, 7, and 8. Once we put these on, I'll review the stitch order. So in our patterns, we give you the order in which to stitch. Now you can stitch it in any order you want, but the proper way to do it is to start with the very lowest layer, right? So piece number 1, and then piece number 2, and 3, and 4. So that way, as you stitch the next layer, you're stitching over and kind of additionally locking in your stitch. And it just usually appears better. However, once you have a thread on your machine, you don't want to change your thread a million times on a project. So once we have a thread on our machine, we stitch all of the pieces with that color. So that is, in a nutshell, how we come up with the stitch order. And that's a tip that you can bring to any applique project that you're working on. So just like that, in a matter of however many minutes, we have opened our box, prepped our pieces, and put everything in place. Now keep this and put it in a notebook. Remember, let me reach over. We give you a binder cover and the binder edge and the back binder, and all of your patterns every month have the 3 holes. So keep that organized, and then I recommend that your binder have a little pocket. So of course your large placement guides can slip right in that pocket, and you can stay nice and tidy and organized the whole time. Okay, so now let me turn my light pad off so that's not glaring on you. We have our block, we're ready to stitch. So remember we have beautiful thread kits. How pretty are those? I'll hold them there and here. So we have 30 and 50 weight. You'll use the 30 weight thread, this 30 weight cotton, in the needle of your sewing machine. It's a little bit thicker. It gives you a really nice, beautiful stitch for your applique stitch. And then you pair that with a matching 50 weight thread. Now I do want to point out on the 30 weight thread for 1307, there is no 50 weight 1307 because they just don't make it. I don't know why, but they don't. So we paired that with number 1109. So when you go to pair, it's pretty visually easy to see you're pairing hot pink with hot pink, basically. I know they have different names for the pinks, but it's hot pink and hot pink. So let's talk about our stitch order. It's so simple. Just go to your little chart, your table. So first up, we're going to stitch our chimney in dark brown. Then we're going to do our petal pink, and we were just talking about the hot pink for number 2 and 3. So that is the base of the house and then the roof. Then we're going to go to Cabernet Red. Let me show you what that is. It is this one. See, it's like a burgundy. It's a very beautiful color. That is what you are going to stitch your door and your 3 hearts in. It's really fun because it gives you a really nice contrasting door and makes it pop with this print. And then of course, all three of these prints are like kind of shades between that pink and burgundy. So it looks really pretty stitched like that. And then you'll finish it up with the butterfly gold for the heart right here in the center of your house. So the last tip I'm going to give you is when you are doing that stitching, not last tip, I have two more tips. The next thing you do when you are stitching, before you start stitching, you just simply place stabilizer right under your block. So you would just trim it right here. It doesn't need to go outside of your block. It just needs to be under where you're stitching, but give yourself enough to be able to grip, right? And so just place a little bit of the Sulky Tear Easy stabilizer underneath. After you're done all the stitching, you will remove and pull away all of your stabilizer, and then it will be time to trim your block. So when you're trimming your block, let me give you a tip. Sorry for my hand being all in that camera view. This is the Cute Cuts ruler. It's at 8.5 inches, and that's what we're going to trim our block to. So we trimmed 8.5 inches. It finishes at 8 once the quilt is put together. So a tip for trimming your block, and again, you trim after you've stitched. I'll pull the placement guide out so I can show you. And I'll put this back on. So you would line, after this is stitched, line it back up on your placement guide. Ooh. There we go. So this is lined up. What I like to do, see we have our 8.5 inch trim line marked. That's the outer line. This inner line is showing you what's going to be visible on your quilt, because that's your 8-inch finish. This interior line, the exterior line is your trim line. Now every now and then a pattern print is not exactly perfect. So use your ruler and make sure you're at 8.5 inches and just line it up on the corner. There you go. I believe I'm on the corners. The easiest way to know you're in the spot is the house. Can you see? Oh, let me move up just a little. See, the house is going to line up directly on that bottom line. Now, I personally don't want to cut my pattern. So what I do is take a sew line chalk pencil or a Pigma pen or a marking utensil that you would use on fabric. And just, I give myself a little guideline at the corners, just like so. Can you see that? And then when I take my background away, put this on put my background fabric and my ruler then in place on top of a cutting mat, and I'm able to perfectly trim that block. So that's it. It is super easy. This is such a beginner-friendly applique project. I hope that you are having so much fun. This is only block 2. We have lots more to go. Remember, there are 12 blocks this size. Then there's the 13th box that you get that is that 13th block that's at the very bottom right of your quilt. Bottom right, yes, bottom right of your quilt. And then you have your sashing and borders and binding and all that stuff in the following boxes. So you have 14 boxes in total. Super fun to make. If you have any questions at all, don't hesitate to ask them. You can always reach out to us by visiting stitchesoflovequilting.com, clicking on support and submitting a ticket. We have a wonderful team of ladies and gentlemen that help answer all the questions. And of course, you can comment on the video with your questions. Happy stitching!